Hello and welcome back to part 3 of our TOGcast with Jardier. I really hope you've enjoyed the series so far, and this last episode is very enlightening as well. So please, if you are watching on YouTube, give it a like. Consider subscribing, consider becoming a member. You can also follow our podcast on Spotify. If you do that, please click follow so that you're notified next time we go live. Back over to the interview. Just as we're obviously talking about racing and things like that, the way you drive, and now you've obviously got your camera pedal, so you're very, very transparent about how your feet move. I mean, you look like you're dancing at times. You know, your left foot and right foot are constantly moving, and you know, I just don't know. I mean, I can't follow it unless I slow the video down to like stupid rates just to see. But it's almost like you're always controlling the car with both feet. Is that something you learned by yourself, or is that something you saw someone else doing and going, "Oh, that makes total sense"?
No. That's all me.
Is it all you?
I don't even know how I do it, and I literally the first time I saw this was like 2014. I bought like a new GoPro and something, and I put a camera on me and such, and I wanted to make like a little video for my friends from one race. And I was like, and then I was looking at the footage, I was like, what the hell am I doing? You know?
Because we've talked about it. We've got Owen, who's our driver coach in TOGA, and we were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and he uses a lot of your videos and he slows it all down to see like your braking points, your turn-in points, your acceleration points, things like that. But he was talking about he spent 8 months trying to learn your technique. And I can't remember. I was practicing for a race a couple of weeks ago, and half of a lap, it clicked with me, and then I couldn't do it ever again. I'm even consciously thinking about it. So obviously, it's just a natural thing for you that you've been able to do that. But I haven't seen anyone else doing that, sim racing wise. You know.
I don't think it's also like a greatest thing, like because it even hurt me when we were. I think last year we were practicing for SRO.
Right. Okay.
And I was just losing. I was same pace as my teammates everywhere on the Nürburgring, except the first sector. I was losing like 1.5 tenths in the first sector.
Right. Okay.
And for the gut of law, I just could not understand why I'm slower. And then my teammate looked at the telemetry and it was like, yeah, because you are doing this with the pedals.
Yep.
You're going to the first corner and you're like overheating the tires a little bit into the first corner.
Yep.
And then you have a no grip, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I had to like relearn how to drive a bit. And now I'm having it always in the back of my head. I'm like, I know I'm doing this, but it doesn't work in every game. It doesn't work like all the time. I think in a real race car, you could do it as well in most of the cars, but it would be really depends, you know? It really depends because you have to be careful not to trigger ABS and stuff like that, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would be great in a rally, I think.
Honestly, like, I mean, before you had your pedal cam, I didn't really know what you were doing. I just assumed it was, full on brake off onto throttle, and then I seen it, and you've got lights on your pedals as well, haven't you? You've got the green and red. And I'm like, oh my God, like, it's almost like you're tap dancing. And I'm like, yeah, I have no idea how on earth, and I think it's such a natural thing for you to do that you've learned and you've taught yourself to do that I think you would struggle going into a classroom and teaching it to someone.
Yeah, I have absolutely like no idea what I'm doing. Like, honestly, like I know like what it does basically. It helps me stabilize the car and everything, to make the car super stable and so on. But it's so hard to like understand. Like if you said, if you would put me in a classroom just to teach someone, I'd be like, yes, I have no idea.
No, watch my video. I'll be back in half an hour. So I'll quickly move on to a couple of other things. You recently released a video about setups and how to do setups and how you set a car up and how everything works in terms of mechanical grip and things. Can I just say, watching that video, I took about a second and a half off my time because I was getting high-mo setups, which are quite well suited for me, and just leaving them because I was terrified of setups. I didn't know what I was doing, and I would just leave them and try to adapt my driving to that thing. But then after your video, I'm like, oh god damn it, I'm gonna give this a try. And I have so much confidence now. I get a Hymo set up for a track. I go straight in and I start changing things. I would have been terrified to do that before. I mean, have you had good comments back, good feedback about that video?
Yeah, I was really afraid when I was doing that video because I really wanted to do it for a long time.
Yeah.
For like 4 months. But I was really afraid because I was really afraid that people hate on me. Like, I'm not saying like the setup pages or whatever, but I thought like generally people will just like, I don't know, call me cheater or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's obviously, this is only ACC, right?
Yeah,
this is
that's
like,
right.
This is not going to work in the other games because the other games have different things. But yeah, I was really surprised when I released the video and I saw the comments. Like 99.5% of the comments were like extremely, as you said, basically, hey, this helped me. This helped me cut some time. This helped me understand and so on. And I'm obviously very happy because like always, like I like to have a competition. You know, and the competition is like, I'm like obviously happy winning. But if I will win by 30 seconds and nobody will be behind me, I'm not gonna be happy. And basically the whole sim racing. The whole time that I'm sim racing my whole life, I'm always seeking for competition because I'm happier when I'm P3 among the best drivers in the world, you know, than being P1 among like, I don't know, tier 4.
Absolutely.
So if this helps anyone, even better, you know.
Obviously, as you say, there was the fear of, how dare you show exactly what what the magic things are, what's the magic numbers are.
I was actually surprised not even a single teammate of mine said anything about this. Like nobody said like, hey, good video or bad video. Nobody actually mentioned it. I'm actually really surprised. I'm actually really surprised because I was really afraid like my teammate, for example, will say some of my teammates will be like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like,
I know.
You just can't say this, you know.
Don't give our secrets away. My God, what are you doing, man? I mean, absolutely. I have no doubt the listeners will be feeling the same as me. You just unlocked something that was like a magic secret, and it wasn't even as much as you know. There are some streamers who will hide their setups as they're going in and changing things, which is fair enough. Everybody to themselves. But you actually said on stream you wouldn't do that, and you would actually be showing your setup and things like that. I don't mean you be showcasing your setup, but you're not hiding it. From
like
that.
we used to because like when there's a setup is not from me and it's like my teammate's setup, or maybe it's a paid setup that I'm not supposed to show as well, so I'm trying like not to show it, but when it's like setup that nobody cares about, I just show it, you know.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've done so many videos, track guides, hot laps, you've done, you know, setups, you've done hardware. You're teaching people who don't know things to become either better or quicker or understand and maybe even fall in love with the game even more. I think at times sim racing can be quite a vicious place. You know, it's competitive. Have you ever thought about doing a video? Like you said, you know, it took you a few months to decide about the setup video. Have you had other videos like that where you think, damn, I'd really like to do that. I think that would help people, and then went, I don't know. I don't know what kind of repercussions I could have from this video. Have you had that?
I have like, I always like see something and I'm like, oh, I would like to do a video about it. But then like most of the time when I don't do a video, it's mostly because I'm afraid of the language. Because obviously English is not my native, but I can speak English, obviously. But the problem is I cannot go into proper detail. Because when you watch, I don't know, Jimmy, and he talks about something, he can go in, obviously because he's English, he can go into like a super specific. And he can talk about stuff that I just cannot express.
That makes sense. So
and sometimes I would like to do this, but I'm just okay. I will not do it because I would probably be jibber jabbing about nonsense, you know, and people will not even understand what I mean, you know. And I mean, you can even notice it on some of my videos that where I'm doing some track guides, or even when I'm talking about setups, there's like little things that I would like to explain in a better way. I just can't, you know, because obviously the language barrier is still there.
Absolutely, and it would be like the same as me trying to speak another language. You know, there's just no way. You know, You do so well, you know, and you leave things in there where you are like, oh God, I can't remember what the name for that is, but it's like that, you know, where other streamers will maybe edit that out and make it a bit more polished, but you know, you leave it in there. Talking about one of your other videos, you recently received a DD2 and the GTWC wheel from Fanatec. Wow. I mean, wow. But you touched on it in your stream where you said you got a lot of hate from people saying, you know, oh my God, you get this given to you because you're a high profile streamer. You know, I've been waiting X amount of months or whatever. But you do a lot of work in the background to try and make these things happen. And in terms, you know, how, obviously now being a higher profile, I'm not going to say it's easy. It might open doors easier than when you first started streaming and kind of going full time. So when you initially first started streaming, did you send a lot of contacts to different companies to say, hey, look, I'm a streamer, I do this. Would you be interested in working with me?
Yeah, that's a good question because as I was working in retail, I basically absolutely hate to try to like get myself into companies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, I have like a bit of a problem with myself that even when I was in retail, I was like, I have trust issues, you know, with the companies as well. So I am not able to get a product, whatever it is, and recommend it to someone. Like, hey guys, you need to buy this wheel or whatever. You know, like I just can't do it. And therefore I'm like very, very picky, even since the beginning with who I work with. Like because obviously, as you said, like because at this position right now with a little bigger channel, you get email, then there's a company, hey, if you'd like to send you this, if you'd like to promote it, and I'm like, hey, sorry, no, you know, because like I just first of all don't know the product, I'm not sure if I will like it, and like I'm not reviewer channel, so I will not do it. And I think the only I don't want to say if I did it correct. I think the only one time when I actually like emailed someone that I would like to get a equipment. I think it was I bought a first GT Omega rake in 2012.
Right. Okay.
11. And then I started like doing these videos, and I think I can't remember if I emailed them or they emailed me, but either with GT Omega or Fanatec, I approached them. And I asked, hey, I would like to really, like, I'm doing this, and I would like to try your equipment. But it was the only time. Like, other times were, like, coming towards me. And I also said no to, like, a lot of companies because I just don't feel it would click. You know, I first of all, like for me, I have to trust the product. I have to like the product because if I use it every day or something, it has to be like for me, you know.
Absolutely.
It's like when you're buying phone or recommending some car or whatever, you know. It's just it's the very same thing, and and I'm very loyal as well at the same time. So like when I work, for example, with GT Omega, I don't want to work with someone else, you know, and so
absolutely,
which is like very bad for business in a way. But I don't know, I think it's like a one thing that just got from retail and just stucks with me. And even whatever, like if someone has a bad opinion on, for example, Fanatec or something, like I work with them for 4 or 5 years, and everything works for me, and everything is okay for me, so I have no reason to be mad or anything, you know.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a different experience, obviously, in these areas, and
absolutely.
And as you were saying with the video, it was a like, so the thing is that people obviously see the result, but they don't see the journey.
Absolutely.
It's like the same with the channel, it's the same how you stream, it's the same with everything. So people can be like envious in a way that will say, wow, he has this amazing wheel for free or something. But they don't see the path before, you know.
Absolutely.
Like the 20 years of sim racing. Like show me someone with 20 years of experience in sim racing, like, you know, like Niels Noyox maybe, and that's it probably. And as the same with Fanatec, because as you said, that people don't see the background. Like we were negotiating for like 7 months. I was literally waiting for like 7 months to get this wheel. And then I finally got it, you know. and people were not happy about it, obviously, because Fanatec right now is having some warehouse issues. So it's at the worst time, you know. At the same time, it was like the worst time. But a lot of people were very positive though in the end. So
which is good, because I think unless you're a streamer, it's difficult to understand, or a content creator, it's difficult to understand the work that you do put in behind it, and you just want to say to someone, look, I'll show you my last 7 months, and I'll show you, what I had to go through, or things like that. And it's a testament to you to say, openly to say to a company, no, sorry, look, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Like for instance, I had it was an agency contacted me to say, look, we'd really like you to promote, and they only wanted one post on Instagram. Now I haven't used Instagram in a while, and they said, we want you to promote an account software for farmers.
Yeah.
And I'm looking about going, I'm not a farmer. How could I try and persuade farmers of the 10 generations that they should be using this account software? And I'm really sorry, I can't do this. It just goes against your whole soul when you're like, it's almost like selling out. It's like, I'll do it just because, you think you're going to get some money and things like that. It's, did you find it hard in the beginning to say no? Is it easier now than it was to start with?
Yeah, maybe I say no too much, in a way. For example, I had an offer to go to Spa for World Endurance Championship to watch like the Porsche LMP.
Oh yeah.
The offer was like, you have to go and you have to promote our mobile game.
Oh right, okay.
And I was like, hey guys, I'm sorry, I just I don't play any mobile games. I haven't played for years. I only do sim racing. I was like, that would really be useless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like for everyone. And I was like, hey, I'm just sorry, I won't do it. And and obviously, like I'm really trying hard not to be a sellout in a way.
No, absolutely.
But obviously, the most important is that people need to understand that you have to pay bills. You
like do.
Sometimes
absolutely. And I've obviously follow Rory Alexander as well, and he's only just about a year from going full time. And I mean, you've bills to pay. You've got a girlfriend, you've got a dog, you've got everything going on. You need to pay bills at the end of the day. And I think people should actually appreciate you more for saying no to things, because you're not you're turning money down at the end of the day. True, absolutely. I think some of it's jealousy as well. Somebody, I'm sitting looking at my Logitech G29 at the moment going, oh my God, but at the end of the day, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have, and things like that. So people need to appreciate, you can't assume from somebody if somebody watched your stream from say the weekend there, you cannot appreciate what you've went through to get to where you are. You haven't walked in somebody's shoes, so unfortunately there's a lot of keyboard warriors who just like putting comments on for the sake of it.
But it's one of the things you have to get used to. It's obviously like it's always difficult, but it gets easier. It gets easier. Like
absolutely.
Sometimes it hurts. Like there's I don't really mind like hate. Like sometimes you get like really like, let's say, really stupid comment. I know somebody calls you fat or whatever. Or even like worse things, but I always like don't mind these like that. Even like that goes through my head, no problem. But sometimes you get like those like little comments that can really hit you in the spot.
Absolutely.
Which can hurt, but it's I think it's just the years of experience. So it's like in the job. Like if you do some, let's say in a retail, you have to do cold calls, right? Like if you do cold calls at the beginning, you are, honestly, I'm sorry for my language, shitting bricks.
Absolutely.
If you do it for 3, 5, 10 years, then you just pick up the phone and call. It's no problem for you anymore.
That's right. No, absolutely. And I had a horrendous race a few months ago in LFM, and somebody actually messaged me saying, you need to give this up. You are no good at this. Please stop playing ACC. And I was, it took me about a week and a half to actually get over that comment. I was waking up thinking about the comment. Every time I got behind the wheel, it was in my head. I couldn't concentrate. And I'm like, why do people need to be like that? So I'm like, do you know what? Let it go. It's the best thing you can do.
That's terrible. Good job getting over it. Like, it's just, you know what? You need to, like, if you get hate like this, you need to do, you know what? I'm going to do even more.
Absolutely.
Like,
use that as fuel.
You don't like me doing this, I'm going to do even more.
Absolutely. And I'll be beating you down the track, and, absolutely. Use it as a fuel to
I had it, like, it's the best thing, to like live the not through that success, but like it's just like a way of revenge, you know? Like,
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
hey, you watch my channel, you hate me talking about VOP. You know what? I will just talk more about it. You know,
that's
just,
it. Exactly. I know exactly. We will be coming on to that very quickly. How do you learn a new track? Do you have a process of learning a new how you go about learning a new track?
I would say like it's really difficult for me to not know the track anymore because I watch real racing and doing sim racing. Literally, like I've watched real racing like on TV since 99, 98.
Yep.
And doing sim racing since 2004, basically, or 2005.
Yep.
So for me not to know the track is not that easy in a way. But yeah, like I did some like for example I did Forza like a few days ago. And I was driving on a track I never seen before because it was like obviously a virtual track.
Yep.
And I don't know. I would say my father was always laughing at me. He was saying like, "I wish you would be this smart in school," you know, because I just go like I do 2-3 laps on a track and I know it inside out. You know? And
wow, that's just
I try to like good thing like what I try to do when is if you see the track map before you're loading to the server or practice, you see some point of interest which makes you like, okay, this is a massive hairpin after straight. You know, there's a massive chicane or something in after a long straight, whatever. So and then you just follow the rest, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting you say that because I'm reading a Chip Barber book just now about how to basically drive properly and drive faster, and they talk about 3 categories of corners. The first one is a corner before a straight. One is a corner after a straight. Another one is a sequence of corners where you might forget about the line of the first one to get a better line out of the second one and things like that. So that's interesting to hear you say that as well, because that is a mentality that I didn't even realize existed until I started reading that. And I'm like, oh, all right. So when you see a track, like a map, you're like, oh, I can prioritize these corners because they're going into straight. So you know, get a better drive out. So it's nice to open your mind up and actually see what's going on in your head from us mere mortals. So it is. So again, you'd released a video very recently about custom BOP for ACC. Can you just explain a little bit in case someone who has never heard of you or not seen any of your videos, which is unlikely, just quickly explain what that means for us ACC drivers?
So BOP is the balance of the performance, and it's basically a thing that they do in the real life in the GT world, like when they have like you're racing Porsche versus Audi versus AMG and so on. And each of these cars have different engine, different power, you know, like one car has 650 horsepower, one has 600 horsepower, you know. And thanks to this balance of the performance in a real life, it works together with weight ballast that will obviously make you slower, and it also weighs with restrictions, you know. So let's say the car is not doing 290 and the other car is not doing 270, you know. So they are trying to basically find a center point when they will go as close as possible together, you know. So basically if one car can do 1 minute 10, the other car will do 1 minute 10, you know. And it's gonna be 2 tenths, 3 tenths as close as possible. And obviously the gaming world is the same thing because we obviously have all these like incredibly realistic 3D scan cars and everything. They are using the real data in ACC and so on. But obviously we are in a virtual world, so the cars are behaving a little differently, and you can obviously find different limits and such. And with the balance of the performance, like as it should work in a game, you would do some restrictors, so the car is a little bit slower, for example, on a straight, and you would put some ballast into it or remove the ballast, and it will make the car like same pace as the other. You know? But unfortunately in the ACC, the restrictor doesn't do anything, so only the weight we can play with.
Absolutely.
And right now, obviously, like a month ago or 2 months ago, ACC released update where because of the SRO, the SRO Esports Series, they released update where it was possible to also remove the ballast. So now we have 80 kilograms of weight we can work with.
Absolutely. So you can add 40 or take 40 off, either way. So basically, it's almost going to not level out all the cars because they'll all be slightly different, and some cars will still be suited better for other tracks, but it's going to make it a lot closer.
Exactly. Yes. That's basically, if you watch at a SRO Esport, like endurance or the sprint, that's where the balance of the performance was being used. So it was basically completely different compared to like a normal game.
Yep.
And therefore, for example, on Nürburgring, Aston Martin was 40 kilo lighter, so it was almost a second faster than it is normally, you know. And it's like a big difference. So the cars were like much closer together, so you could actually race the other people, you know, have a little bit closer environment to fight for the win.
Absolutely.
Now, thanks to like all the hot lapping and all the LFM and such, there's a bit of a revolution now, because LFM is basically introducing their way of working on a BOP, because they take all the data from the like Apex Online Racing and LFM servers and the SRO eSport, and they put it together and did like a first version of the balance now.
Yep.
So like easily said, if you would be driving a month ago with, I don't know, Aston Martin or Nürburgring, your car on the paper is second slower than some, maybe even more than some other cars. But with this balance of the performance, I'm not saying it's going to be the fastest, but it might be a lot better.
Yeah,
you know?
and that makes a difference for very close racing. Instead of, you know, you see some tracks where there's 5 McLarens in the top 5 or top 10, and you're like, oh, well, there's what's the point? You know, unless you're driving a McLaren, you're not going to win. But this now makes it more eligible that you could be challenging, you know, for such a higher place. So are you excited then for this whole BOP revolution that's going on just now then?
Yeah, a lot, because like unfortunately ACC didn't do it for 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So now basically with the community control, like already like LFM released like their BOP, then Apex Online Racing for their upcoming league, they are going to do it as well.
Yep.
Then Renvelten, I think, is doing the same thing, and now OOR, stuff like that, is doing the same thing, and our league maybe will do that as well for the next season.
Oh, amazing.
So it is the better thing, because like obviously you want to have the cars closer. You want to have, like, as you said, like if you go on LFM Spa, the grid was having 25 McLarens and 2 other cars, basically.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Just because of it.
Yep.
And now, yes, McLaren can still be the fastest. It can still win the race, but now you can also win in our car. You know?
Absolutely.
So that's basically the whole point of the BOP. And unfortunately, the ACC itself just can't do it.
Yeah.
So it's very nice that we have this tool that community can actually work together. And the best thing about it is, like, they can continuously work on it. Right now, maybe we will see some weird things. Maybe we'll see Bentley being too fast, for example.
Yep.
But maybe it's going to be too fast, or I don't know, Aston might be too fast. But because of this is in a community hands, it can be easily fixed. You know? Like if you remember, we had ACC, we had that Honda thing, right? When Honda, for 8 months, the Honda was literally the best car in the game, and so on. And now we find out, basically after a couple of months, thanks to eSport, we found out that Audi is like absolutely broken. On, like, obviously people are mad about McLaren because it's probably more noticeable. But the Audi is like under the radar on some tracks, even half a second clear the P2 car, you know? So I think this is like a really good thing, and I'm very curious how far this will go. I'm sure a lot of people might be complaining about, like some people might be complaining about it, because I can imagine someone who is, let's say, 2 seconds off the pace, and he will suddenly find out he's 2.5 seconds off the pace because the car he was driving was a little bit better.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
and so on. So it might become a little ego check for some drivers, but at the same time, I think a lot of drivers will be happy because they can take, for example, their favorite car, you know?
Absolutely. And I love the Bentley. The Bentley was one of the cars that I used to drive. It's bizarre. I'm in the UK. I drive my own car, right-hand drive, but I cannot drive a right-hand car in ACC. It just messes with my brain going into corners. So, no, I'm really excited. We actually have a charity event coming up at the end of the month where during qualifying, you can donate to cancer research and add ballast to someone else's car. Or you can donate money and take ballast off your car. So it's a great way of doing everything all in one go, and levels the playing field a little bit. So so this week you're going to Sim Expo, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Is there anything in particular, or any hardware or software that you're exceptionally looking forward to?
People. I'm gonna be very honest. The only reason I'm going to Sim Racing Expo is to meet my friends.
Oh, amazing! Well,
like obviously the expo itself is brilliant, but we have like people from our community that we already saw each other last year, and
amazing.
Obviously some of my teammates and so on. And as I'm just like, there's no other option to meet all the people, you know. So that's 100% on my list just for that. You know?
Brilliant, exactly. Catch up. Okay, I have I've got 6 very quick fire questions. Okay.
Fuck.
So the first one is pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yeah, why not if you like it?
Oh, really? Oh.
I saw worse things.
Yeah, that's true. GT3 or GT4?
GT3.
Oh, nice. Favorite movie?
Matrix.
Oh, good choice. That's not what I thought you were going to say. Favorite band?
Oh my god. I don't listen too much, so let's say, I don't know, One Republic.
All right, okay, good choice. Cardio or weights?
Sorry?
Cardio or weights when you go to the gym? What would you prefer to be doing?
Weights.
Weights, good man. The last one, Max or Lando?
Oh,
no! I mean, I know that you obviously, when it was lockdown and things like that, did you not race in a race with Lando or something? Or,
yeah. At this particularly, I would say Max.
Max, yeah. And obviously, I mean, he is such, I mean, I've never really seen any other driver be so into sim racing as he is, and it can only be such a good thing for everyone. You know, it raises the publicity of it all. So
the only reason I chose Max is because he's better on schedule. Like every time I did anything with Lando, we always had to wait.
Oh, did you? Oh, he's a bit of a prima donna.
He's always late. Always late.
Oh well, there we go. A bit of insight into Lando Norris as well. Well, I have taken up so much of your time. I am so grateful for doing this. I'll be splitting this into 3 parts so that we can all enjoy this for it. So if you haven't subscribed on YouTube and you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, please subscribe, give it a like. If you look to become a member, it's £2.99 a month for that. If you're listening on Spotify, please make sure you're following us. And yeah, I don't know how I'm going to ever top this podcast, but I'll need to think of something. So until next time, thank you very much, Jardier, for your company today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, absolutely, mate. It was a pleasure as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, right. Thank you very much to the podcast listeners, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.